Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button if you guys are fans of the content being posted onto this channel to always be in the loop with more content similar to this, and be sure to hit the video up with a like if you're enjoying the content. And with that being said, let's begin. With the recent development having to transpire in the latest Dragon Ball Super manga chapter, we've come to find out that during the battle involving the Grand Supreme Kai and Moro, the Daikaioshin was unable to fully use his god powers in sealing Moro's magic away using his sealing technique due to an unforeseen and uncontrollable circumstance that took place on Earth, which led to the splitting of Good Buu and Evil Buu in Dragon Ball Z, tearing the Grand Supreme Kai's powers in two. Now, in case you're wondering how this affects the future of Dragon Ball Super, in specific when dealing with the likes of Uubs, when Vegeta went on to further ask Maris about the powers of the Grand Supreme Kai, Vegeta went on to ask, so the god power was passed on to the evil half of Majin Buu? As Maris suspects that indeed this had to have been the case, because Maris goes on to further tell Goku and Vegeta, because the Good Buu inherited the Great Lord of Lords' physical appearance, I assumed he received the god power as well, but maybe that power went to Evil Buu instead. As Goku further goes on to comment, that little guy, Kid Buu, had actual god power in him, and having to further inform Goku and Vegeta that once Majin Buu's initial split happened, the good portion of Buu retained the Daikaio's physical appearance, while he suspects that the evil portion of Majin Buu, rather than retaining his appearance, gained the Daikaio's powers instead. Meanwhile, back on the battlefield against Moro, both the Grand Supreme Kai and Moro have an exchange of dialogue, as Moro goes on to further comment, your strange abilities confuse me, but now that my power exceeds yours, they no longer trouble me. Did something happen to you these past 10 million years? Because this is unimpressive, as the Daikaio gets into position in further attempting the exact same sealing technique he had performed 10 million years ago. The Daikaio proceeds to tell Moro, listen Moro, you're going to come quietly back to the galactic prison. Resist, and I will seal off your magic again. As Moro proceeds to laugh, he goes on to tell the Daikaio, the old sealing technique, is it? Go ahead, do your worst. No, I thought not. I do not sense the same god power you once held. I dare say, you lack the power to unleash the sealing spell, right? As the Daikaio concedes to this, he goes on to tell him, sharp, aren't you? As we later notice how Moro is able to tap back into the memory of Majin Buu to the very moment where Goku used the Spirit Bomb to obliterate Kid Buu. During that time, Moro had gathered the information along with the Daikaio, as the Daikaio further goes on to comment, when he, referring to Kid Buu, was obliterated, so was my power. I see. As Moro then proceeds to tell the Daikaio, now that I've taken a glimpse at those lament memories, it's clear to me that no being in the universe possesses the power to seal my magic away. How wonderful is it not to have to fear that anymore? Which is a direct reference to Majin Buu itself, which kind of also explains as to why Super Buu / Evil Buu / Kid Buu was so incredibly powerful during the Majin Buu saga, even though the power scaling for the Majin Buu saga is all over the place. What does this initially mean going forward when introducing the concept of Uubs in Dragon Ball Super? Well, Uubs is already in Dragon Ball Super. He's been referenced and showcased many times before, the first time being the initial battle between Universe 6 and Universe 7, as Vegeta had recommended to Goku that following the events of Kid Buu's destruction, he further went on to reference the reincarnation of Kid Buu to Goku, but during the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament, Goku had made the reference that at that current point in time, Uubs was simply too young. As we later dive deeper into the Universe Survival arc, as Goku began to further recruit members for the Universe 7 team, before having to travel out and meeting Android 17, Dende had later informed Goku that a child with a remarkable battle power is born and now currently living on Earth. And while Goku had been distracted with the outside involvement with Beerus and other entities of Earth, there in fact had been a person living here this entire time, Uubs, who possessed a great power. Just for Goku to take note of going forward in Dragon Ball Super, Super, and now, here we are. Now, when taking a look at what was being stated by the Grand Supreme Kai along with Maris, it implies that once Uub is eventually introduced in the world of Dragon Ball Super, he may in fact possess God energy, which in fact is directly connected to the Grand Supreme Kai. Being that Kid Buu was completely obliterated by Goku's Super Spirit Bomb and having to be later reincarnated with the same powers intact, it would only seem to make sense given Goku's status right now of having to be much stronger than how we've seen originally in Dragon Ball Z, and it really wouldn't make any sense for Uub to be on any comparative level to Goku without some significant boost in power. And being that Goku had gone through such an evolution himself in discovering Super Saiyan God, unlocking Super Saiyan Blue, stacking Kaioken on top of Super Saiyan Blue, achieving Ultra Instinct Omen or Autonomous Ultra Instinct, in which later led to a brief moment of Goku mastering Ultra Instinct in the Tournament of Power, it's safe to say at this point Goku would be head and shoulders way beyond anything Uub would be capable of. So for Uub to go as far as to even go toe-to-toe with base Goku would imply that he would have to have a significant increase in power, and after looking back and reflecting on the latest Dragon Ball Super manga chapter number 49 edition, it would only make sense for the evil that once was of Kid Buu with the Grand Supreme Kai's power intact during that time to be resurrected in a way to where Uub still has that power, but it's lying deep within him, somewhat of a hidden potential that he needs someone to have unlocked for him, and in this case being Goku, especially if they ever plan on truly going into the ending of the original Dragon Ball Z episode with Goku taking Uub under his wing and later taking off, closing off the series for good. Now again, we don't know whether or not they're going to go down the route of having Uub be introduced in a different way. I still do feel in my heart of hearts that we are going to see Goku in some way, shape, or form spar with Uub, but it would only make sense for the Grand Supreme Kai's powers to also be reincarnated deep within Uub, as it really wouldn't make sense if Uub just so happened to have been a person that was just reincarnated out of the blue, but yet still in some conceivable way able to go toe-to-toe against Goku, who not only fought against Beerus, Golden Frieza, Hit, Goku Black, Zamasu, Merge Zamasu, the entire Tournament of Power roster, Jiren, Broly, Moro, and possibly many others. So for that to be substantial and having that make sense, it would only fit the narrative if the Daikaios powers were also brought back with Uub, but simply having to lay dormant within him and having someone help him achieve this power onto the surface. Which, if you think about it, it does make sense in the long run, especially if they plan on going beyond the end of Dragon Ball Z and having Goku actually stick with Uub following the events of Dragon Ball Z, teaching him the ways, perhaps even going into the hyperbolic time chamber, going and taking Uub's training to the next level on Beerus' planet, having Whis watch, or maybe even have Whis assist Goku in teaching Uub more or less how to use his energy, how to move in a similar fashion, perhaps take the teachings that Whis had given Goku and apply that onto Uub, and having Uub tap deeper into the reincarnated power of the Daikaio within him, as I really doubt they are going to have Uub step in and actually fight against Moro right now or any other chapter that comes forward after chapter 50, because with Uub having to be so young and very, very inexperienced, it would make absolutely no sense in seeing Moro versus Uub, considering the fact that A, Uub doesn't have a teacher in showing him the ways of how to become a good martial artist and becoming a good fighter, because if you want to take Uub even now with the Daikaio's reincarnated power and put him up against Moro, Moro would utterly slaughter Uub before everyone's eyes. So that in and of itself really wouldn't make sense unless they want to introduce somewhat of a concept in having the Grand Supreme Kai get his powers back by somehow merging with Uub, which again wouldn't make any sense because I truly do believe that they're actually going to save Uub until Goku meets him at the Budokai tournament rather than having them shoehorn Uub into an arc like this, because A, it wouldn't make sense, and B, Uub simply doesn't have the experience to keep up with someone like Moro, so that in and of itself would be scrapped. But I do think that going forward it does make sense in having Uub hang in there with the likes of Vegeta, 17, Goku, Piccolo, Gohan, maybe even go as far as to see Uub actually take the training lessons from Whis, training with him, learning more from other people outside of Goku, as I do think that Goku is going to be the primary teacher for Uub, but there is so much to expect from the character, especially with the latest information given to us in the Dragon Ball Super manga for manga chapter number 49. There is so much expectations from the character of Uub, and no, I don't think that he's going to be potential blue level, but even if somehow if Uub taps into his power and he does keep up with Blue Goku, you have to ask yourself, is that really surprising at this point? Literally everyone we've seen in Super had been either comparative or relative to Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, and even slowly creeping up on Kaioken and Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, characters like Jiren, and going far beyond that. It really wouldn't be that much of a surprise if Uub actually does compete with Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Even though the power scaling in and of itself would be wonky, at least then Uub would have the experience, he would tap more into that Daikaio power he has dormant within him, and that would give him more of a fighting chance, rather than just shoehorning in a character who is simply a human born out of Goku's request of having Kid Buu turn good, and then thus having this random rinky-dink character keep up with a character that's fought against literal gods and beings that even transcend gods. But by the end of all of this, I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you guys think that Uub should have the dormant power of the Grand Kaio's God Key within him? What are your thoughts on seeing Uub potentially in the next arc, or somewhat early on in the next couple of arcs that we are going to be getting for Dragon Ball Super? I want to get your thoughts on the whole concept of the Daikaio losing his God Key when Goku killed Kid Buu. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. Once more, if you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to go on ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on all notifications to never miss a single upload. Also, be sure to go on ahead and slap a big fat like on this video, and be sure to subscribe to my secondary and third channels, Unreal Network, Unreal Royale, and of course Unreal Vlogs. Lots of awesome content on there, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. Tune back in for the next video, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming.
Also follow UnrealEntGaming on these social media platforms to stay connected at all times. And if you don't, then very soon you will all be dead. Oh, did someone say UnrealEntGaming? Oh my god.
The fuck's up? Put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes, but Jesus Christ, that's huge! What, Broly?
Freezer.
Uh-oh.
Prepare to die!